12k Birmingham house up for sale. So this property here in Kings Norton is now in auction. It's actually quite a nice street that it's on. It is Station Road in Kings Norton. It's walkable to the station. So why is this so low? Well, we look inside, and actually I'll come on to when this property last sold and we'll have a look at the floor plan, etc. But you'll also note that the decoration hasn't really changed that much, and actually it's not too terrible. Likewise upstairs, although this now obviously at some point in time would have been deemed as state of the art, is no longer the case unless you want that retro look. As I note, this is a 2-bed house, and on this street and next door they say that's a 2-bed, but there are also some 3-beds on this street. Bathroom needs some modernisation, but the reason I'm showing you this is actually it's quite a large bathroom, and I'm going to show you the floor plan of when this property last sold, and I'm trying to work out whether it's still the same, because that is actually at the front of the house, and we think what's happened to the back of the house, or we're wondering what's happened to the back of the house. So digging around, finding out a little bit more about this house. So this is 26, and it sold for 68,500 back in 2002. Here it says it's a 1-bed house, and if we look at the floor plan is a little bit strange. But look at the front of the house. The front of the house has the door, it has 1 window to one side and 2 windows at the front, and then obviously it's a terraced, so there's can't be windows down the side of the house. When we look at the floor plan, we can see these are the front windows, and obviously that's the front door there, and obviously we can see the window at the front. So there's no other windows on any of the other walls. There is another door on the side. If you notice, there was also like a side alley, and what I think has happened is they've actually split the house in two. So what you're doing is buying just the front. Well, if we actually look at the house plans on that street, here's Station Road, and this is the house here, here's the alleyway. I think it's just this very small front part, and there's a house at the back. Because if you actually look at next door, they talk about selling the rear of next door, and there must be a front bit. The other thing is, it says on the original, when it last sold in 2002, that it's a 1-bed house, even though in the current particulars it says a 2-bed, and I'm like, how can you get 2 beds out of that? So I don't know whether they smashed it back together or what it is. So without getting inside, you're not going to know quite what this property is, but it's not quite as good a deal as maybe as you're thinking. It's not going to be comparable to a lot of the other houses on the street, even though when you look at the street, you know, there's some really good prices for these Victorian properties. It's not going to hit those heights. So don't be fooled into thinking, oh my God, this looks amazing. And if you do a desktop research and don't go and see it, which I wouldn't recommend, you could get caught out here. I think there's going to be some work required to this, but actually at 12 grand, obviously a great price, but it will definitely get bid up, and it's in Birmingham, and it's an area that's done well and will continue to do well. It's close to the transport links, so actually this could be a good buy for someone. So if you were selling it on, I would target it at a first-time buyer market, a little house with good communication links in what looks to be quite a nice street, and I think you'd get quite a good price for that. After all of this, if you can work out what it is and make sure all the title and everything is sound, then I think there could be a bargain.